Hey guys, I am Caleb Giddings.
I'm Keith Finch.
And I'm Jack.
And we're back in the same clothes that we were wearing last week because, as you know now, peek behind the curtain, we record these in advance sometimes because we have jobs and lives and things like that. And, we have jobs. Technically, someone gives us money.
We are employed.
I pay my motherfucking taxes.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about taxes. So this week's episode it's very interesting. And what we're going to do after Keith waves his hand so I can show you a sponsor banner. Is I'm going to play a video for you guys. And it's just, I don't know how to explain what you're about to see, but it is a thing that you're only going to see. All right, here we go. Share screen. Click. And we want to share. So I don't want to share that window. This is for those who aren't paying attention, this is actually what we were talking about, is the dangers of sharing your screen, where you could be like, what's about to happen? And you're like, oh, you could have a bad thing.
Will it be the program or will it be the folder titled Taxes 2017? Wink.
Which is just a folder full of crime. All right, here we go, guys. We're going to go ahead and share this screen. I'm going to blow this up to full size so you can watch this video. All
right, so we have a guy, for those who aren't able to watch this, in tattered camouflage, a chest rig, a Soviet era gas mask. He's got some sort of short PDW gun, and he's climbing up the world's rustiest ladder.
Is this Escape from Tarkov, you ask?
And he's just kind of waving the gun around one-handed, mind you.
Well, he's climbing a ladder. I don't know what you want from him there.
I don't know. I don't even know what. It is. It looks like
it's not like in GoldenEye where you just run into it, Caleb.
Ooh, this looks like the trailer for a sci-fi original
picture. UK camouflage. That's kind of cool. All right. So this is weird, but here's what it is. This is on an Instagram post from Fieldcraft Survivals, which, if you're not familiar with, are very real guys. Mike Glover, great guy, has a podcast. You should totally listen to it. Has a very serious background that he's super willing to talk about. Is promoting a thing called Breakout East. And Breakout East is a 5-day training course coming this fall. Students are immersed in a fictional and challenging environment where decisions have consequences. And there's a bunch of hashtags here, some of which I think really stand out. Hashtag Fallout, hashtag Metro, which I'm pretty sure is a reference to the Metro games. There is no hashtag Tarkov in here, but I think it would fit very well.
I think that would be excellent. They do have hashtag Storyline, which drops me right back to Bethesda with the Fallout game. This is clearly a scripted event. And they have a plan for this. So this is live action.
The last one's really important. Hashtag Robin Sage.
So that's what I was about to get to, is this sounds like they are LARPing Robin Sage with, not Green Beret candidates, just kind of out in the wild.
What Robin Sage is.
Okay, so Robin Sage is part of the Green Beret training process where they dump candidates in basically a fake town that is also part of a real town, and they have to E&E through this E&E escape and evade through this whole process. They have fake money that they can use to bribe border guards and stuff like that.
They work with locals. They build up small little team stuff. It's a big involved thing for the SF pipeline.
And from all stories that I've heard about it are that, and I quote, it's super lit. And everybody who has gone through it and talks about it is like, that was some of the most fun I had, but it was also valuable training because, again, you have to think the mission of the Green Beret is not actually a direct action mission. It's go behind enemy lines, teach, Ukrainians how to shoot javelins. I mean, teach. What did I say? Did I say that out loud? Anyway.
Is that my outside voice?
Crap. But the idea of a sort of Robin Sage civilian training sounds cool with a great big asterisk on it. And the great big asterisk is if it's being put on by somebody like Mike Glover, right. If it's being put on by a legit dude. And that brings me to the other side of this coin, which is all of the weird, like, warrior train like a Navy SEAL fantasy camps.
If it's like fantasy boot camp, I'm kind of like, well, before I talk about the negatives, let me talk about why I think this is cool.
Okay.
This is a guy who has done this for real, has the training understanding and be like, hey, you should probably consider these things. And what it looks like to me is that for 5 days, you're going to be E&ing, reconnaissance stuff. There was another post, I'm trying to find it, where he talks about it a little bit more. But you're basically going to be put into training scenarios and have to work through those training scenarios. And at the end of this 5 days, you'll be able to sit there and go like, hey, that was a really stressful event. I learned a lot about myself and about different little topics. And you get something out of that. I think that is cool. I also think it's a super niche group of people that want to do something like this. I'm obviously among them. But when I look at stuff where it's like alpha male leadership camp, and it's like some dudes in a public park and they're all wearing like matching rompers, and there's like some dude yelling quotes at them and calling them like, you're scum, you gotta be better. No, I'm out. I'm sorry.
You know what it is? It's somebody standing there with one of Jocko's books, and he's just screaming lines from Jocko's book at these guys while he's spraying them down with a garden hose, calling them homophobic slurs. And I'm like, that's not the same.
That's not the same thing.
Like, you can miss me with that one. When I've always found this, the concept of these, like, so to the Mike Glover one, I've always found the idea of that to be fascinating because it's so not what I want to do. Because if I wanted to do that, I would just go sign up for one of the cross-training opportunities that we get from time to time with the Army, where they're like, do you want to go be cold in the woods? And I'm like, no, pass. We had I'm not kidding. We had slots for Arctic Warfare School, which is held in northern Minnesota in February. And I was like, no, what? No, northern.
This sounds like none of the fun. I'm like, not any of it.
You want to? I mean, I would have gotten an Arctic Warfare tab that I could not actually wear in uniform, so I don't know what the point of it is. But back to this, I love the idea of stuff like this when it's done well. Obviously, when you've got like a Mike Glover doing it, or like, if I guess I'll use Jocko as an example, even though I don't know Jocko in any sort of way or have any professional association with him. But if he wanted to put on like a Navy SEAL leadership principles camp that where you also did push-ups and carried a boat, I would be like, all right, cool. This seems like a thing. It's not a thing that I want to do, but I'm glad that some people want to do it.
So the key here seems to be not cut Jack off for long, but the key here seems to be, this is a really cool concept. It could be really fun, really immersive, basically like live action problem solving, very serious problems for 5 days. But the key here is we've got to have guys with the background to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just going to be a circle.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a circle jerk of people yelling at you. And
now, Jack, as a resident expert on LARPing, what is the level of separation between this and Dungeons and Dragons in the Woods with foam swords?
4 to 5 steps. 4 to 5 very serious steps. But I honestly would really love the encounter where they're like they're doing a patrol and they're going this way, and they're like all like whoosh, halt, like everybody stops, gets in a cigar-shaped perimeter, and then there's like a crew of elves that are going the other way, and they're like halt, what do thy elven eyes see? And it's like hey, we have the park until 6 p.m. You're not supposed to be here.
We got a permit.
Hold on. I think we're like out of our we were supposed to be tracking that. Which way is true north? And like, oh, it's you're way off. You want to be on the other side of the railroad tracks. Over here's the park. We have this until 6 p.m.
That is
and then they just like fade off into both directions, or there's just like a prisoner exchange, like one guy goes here, now there's like one kid with a bow. Like, I'm having such a great time.
The best part is that interaction happens.
This reminds me of that thing in Europe. Do you remember when we accidentally invaded from Poland into like Luxembourg or one of these things? Like there was a patrol that went one country too far and took over some dude's factory, and he was just like, I guess the Americans are there for right now.
That sounds about right. For a minute, I thought you were going to tell a story about something you and Jack had done in Europe, and I was 100% ready to mute this whole recording and be like, nope. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on kidnapping Russian oligarchs, but I don't want it on the air.
So I think it's kind of interesting how gun culture has responded to the term LARPer. I remember being on a forum or a Facebook group, something a number of years ago, and somebody posted a picture. It was like, look at this LARPer wearing all this gear. I don't know what it is about a certain segment of gun culture that if they see a gun, they're totally happy. But if they see a chest rig, they get bigly mad. But it's out there, and it's weird to me. And they're like, look at this LARPer. And like 5 years later, I'm looking at kids on Instagram that are like, I watched a bunch of Garantham, and I watched a bunch of other guys, and I bought a gun, and I bought some gear. Hashtag LARPing. Go to the woods with my buddies. We're going to LARP. And they're out there like for 7 hours doing drills and just like training like hard dudes. I'm like, good for you. Good for you. Like, big claps, round of applause. I don't care that you learned it all from YouTube. I don't care that you're not right about every single thing. I don't care that your draw stroke sucks. I like that they're doing it. Yeah, you're out there doing it and making it fun, which is something the other gun people didn't do for me when I was coming up.
Man. You know, I'm so
you know who you are.
You're not allowed to have fun.
I always have considered that myself to be lucky that I kind of ended up in competition shooting very early into my like involvement in the gun community, because that was fun, right?
Yes.
It wasn't, and you know, shooting USPSA and IDPA basically right off the bat for me, I was like, oh, I get to run around and like shoot fast and like, you know, use guns that I like. Yeah, this is great. And having that as my introduction was way better than like, and my dad didn't do this, which was probably why I ended up in USPSA, but like, you know, having your dad or your uncle or your grandpa hand you his, you know, bolt action 30-06 and be like, now you only want to load one round at a time because I hand loaded them and blah, blah, blah. And you're at an NRA range and it's 1 shot per second. And you're like, Dad, I'm bored. This sucks. I'm going to say something. Jack called me a boomer last episode, and this is only going to reinforce it. Kids these days coming up into the firearms community have no fucking idea how good they have it. You can go online, watch a Garantham video, learn, you know, basically copy him. And the end result of that is you are reasonably squared away. You can go online, you can watch a Steel Challenge video and copy Max Michel and end up reasonably squared away. You have all of these opportunities to enter into the shooting community, none of which involves standing on an NRA range with an old man in a red hat telling you to—
I had to order it from Paladin Press. It took 2 weeks to get here. I didn't even get a trailer about what it was about.
Oh my God. Is Paladin Press still even around?
I hope so. God, no.
I'm running to Google right now.
Not too long ago. I remember being kind of upset when they did. So I want to say, I don't want it to end here. I don't want I don't want just civilian Robin Sage. I think if you embrace having fun and scenario training, you can do more with this stuff. And people are like, but that's not training for the streets. I don't care. Shut up. The street. I've been in the streets more than any dude who's ever said train for the streets has ever done it.
That is a big fact. Jack belonged to the streets. Let's
Like-
be real. Jack belongs to the streets. By the way,
all that
Paladin,
will it work in the street stuff? I know, but it's fun.
Jack, should you or should you not take your shirt off before a fist fight?
Never take your shirt off before a fist fight. I'll tell you why they do it. They do it because they're getting excited for the first time in a while, and the adrenaline is causing their body temperature to rise up, and your fight or flight response starts doing weird stuff where certain parts of your body lose feeling, like your fingers, because your body is about to be punching people and it doesn't want to feel that. Other parts of your body start experiencing additional contact sensation, mainly the trunk, because your body's producing all this heat. So guys take their shirt off to show me that they don't often get excited before violence. They haven't had this many introductions to it.
Is that why my nipples get hard before I draw my gun?
Yes. All of that is just a physiological response. And so when I see someone take a shirt off, I'm like, that dude's about to lose his fight. He's about to get trounced.
That's really solid like life advice, guys. By the way, there are ways, and there are lots of ways that you can inoculate yourself against that stress response via training. Like this. That was guys, I have to apologize. That was actually an accidental segue that worked out really well. So good job, us. But it's absolutely true is that good scenario-based training, good force-on-force training, and even competition shooting or competition martial arts. Now, I'm going to caveat that martial arts, I'm going to come back to that in a second. But all of those give you the ability to inoculate yourself against that stress response. Now, back to the martial arts caveat. I am not talking about slap and tickle Taekwondo. However, if you're in, but I will throw Taekwondo back into the mix if you happen to go to the sort of Taekwondo school that does fully opposed sparring. Like if your teacher throws you in a ring wearing, gloves and a helmet with some other guy and says, you two guys, all right, now you two guys fight. There's no points. We're just going to fight. Then that counts. That shit counts.
Those chest protectors do nothing. You can go.
Oh my God. I got kicked in the chest so hard wearing one of those. I thought my heart came out my spine. It hurt.
Yeah, they're not doing anything for you guys.
Some dude who's been training Taekwondo since he was 4, and now he's 22 years old, and all he eats is chicken and brown rice, does a spinning back kick and hits you in the heel, hits you in the center of your chest with his heel at full speed. You're just like,
It's like Doctor Strange. You just come out of your body. You look at
your
it like,
soul comes out.
You're
for a
sitting there a
second.
minute later.
Also, I want to clear something up.
breathing?
If you see someone pulling on MMA gloves, that's not to help you.
Yeah.
Those are to help me, the guy putting on the MMA gloves. That's to make my hand feel better. It will not make your face feel better. I remember watching a guy put on MMA gloves. I was like, oh, I've been punched a bunch. He's wearing gloves. This will be great. And then he proceeded to rock my head like it was that little knobbly thing behind your door where it's just like, brrr. That was also the only sound I could hear for 20 minutes as I cried. Like,
here's some other.
Hey, here's the thing. If you want to come to scenario bar fight school, I'll put that on.
I think that actually a lot of people could benefit from something like scenario bar fight school.
No, that would be a good, like, that might even be a good episodic one in like an urban survival, urban learning type scenario is bar fight school. Like this is how actual fights happen, my dudes.
The guy who has cauliflower ear, just don't fight that guy.
Yeah, leave that guy alone.
Nope.
Cauliflower ear is the human way. It's like when nature puts bright red stripes on an animal. You're like, you know what? That's a bad one. Here's one of my personal favorites, and I've seen this happen in the real world, and I have seen it happen in videos as well, is when two guys square up and one guy reaches out and just like shoves the other dude in the shoulder, not hard enough to like knock him down or create distance, but when he's just getting his range because he shoves him with his lead hand, and then that next hand is just like, now I know how far you are. Night time.
So I used to be a strong left lead. Let me knock this out of the way. And in an altercation with a guy, he's like, "What are you putting that hand out there for?" And smacked it. And I was like, 2 more steps. And then that dude was unconscious. Like
he went sleep.
That's why I was range finding, bro. This was a laser.
I touched you with it. Right. Now you're gonna go to sleep. So anyway, guys, don't fight the guy with cauliflower ear. Leave your shirt on before you get into a fight. And scenario-based training like live action Robin Sage can be a really valuable tool for this. And I really hope that whatever this thing is that Mike's got going on is a success, because I always worry about events like this where they're going to sink time and money into it and they're not going to get enough signups to make it happen.
I think we should try and all sign up for it. We should all go.
Well, and because there's really only 2 ways something like this ends up. It's either awesome and it's super cool and everybody loves it, or it's the ball pit at TumblerCon. That was if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go Google that.
You want to look up Internet Historian? He has a great video on it. Just choice, absolute choice.
Or I guess it could also be. The other thing I could have gone with is Firefest.
Yes.
I think the TumblerCon is actually way more interesting than Firefest.
I mean, yeah, for sure. Firefest had a dude offer to suck somebody off for a case of water. So, oh, man, this episode's gone off the rails. Anyway, that's it. So good luck to Mike Glover. I hope his thing works out. And Jack,
Mike Glover, if you listen to this, I'll be in touch. I doubt you do.
Any last words, guys?
No.
See you at the East event here.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'll see you at Firefest with machine guns, guys.
Firefest machine guns.